Hi everyone, we're back for our Tuesday Change School TV, and we're on episode 7.
Yes, all about reinventing you. And so for us, this is really about, recreating your life or your work to adapt to an ever-changing world. And like we always keep saying, change doesn't happen overnight. It is a process. And so that's why it's never too late to start thinking about reinvention and who you could become, what your bigger goals are, where you want to go.
Yeah, so if those of you that are watching us live, if you have any questions or you want to engage with us, just pop in the comments section and we'll be able to view it here. And also just say hi so we know that you're here and we can acknowledge, those of you that are watching us. So thanks for joining us on your Tuesday lunchtime. But as Sol said, I guess like with Reinvention, it's one of those things that people do throughout different stages of their lives. And, you're not reinventing yourself once. It's like a continuous sort of process. And we have a conscious choice to continually grow and reinvent ourselves and advance ourselves towards the future vision of what we want. And, I think having that future vision of what we want to be or who we want to become is essential. And just Hi, Daryl. And just making sure that we're always sort of looking at new ways of becoming better or becoming someone that we want to be in the future, right? So when we face challenges in our lives, we really have to look at how do we let go of the old person that I was, or the old habits that I might have, or the old sort of structure that I might have in place in order to embrace the new. We can't really embrace the new if we're constantly stuck or staying still in the past, or even constantly thinking about the past. So I think one thing is once we hold on to the past, or if we have like this fixed idea, it really limits us to who we can become and the things that we can do. So we've talked about the growth mindset before, and I think when we're looking at reinvention, it's so essential to keep having a growth mindset, right? So when you're looking at reinvention, it's trying to understand and think, what do I want to be? And what is the full potential that I'm capable of getting to, right? And from there, sort of working back and going, what are the actions that I can do? Understand where you are right now, understand the shift that you want to have, and the actions that are needed to get there.
Yeah, so I guess 3 questions that we want to sort of pose and expand on today all around reinvention are... 1, so why is reinvention so important and who needs to do it? 2, how can you start to think about your reinvention goals and create a roadmap to achieve them? And 3, what are some of the common challenges or barriers that come up with reinvention, because there are some, and it's always good to have an idea of those road bumps in advance so that you can either mentally prepare or take some proactive action to kind of reduce or eliminate that barrier. So with the first question, it's really about why. And if you watched, like maybe it was episode 2 or 3, where we talk about starting with why, this is always the best way to start anything, any initiative, any project, anything, because it determines how motivated you are to move forward and if it's something you really want. So, whether you are jump-starting a new career or thinking about a career change or starting a new life chapter or relocating to a new city, the why is really, part of the why is really being able to define like where you are now, so you're sort of point A, and what is your point B? Where do you want to go? And initially you don't have to think about timelines or anything. This is sort of like your end destination in a sense, right? Or that next step. And so it should be a fun and enjoyable process because it's about imagining the possibilities for your future and really trying to visualize, who your future self could be, or what your future life might look like, or what your future career could be. So reinvention is really important for everybody, but like Grace said, I think at different points in your lives, it might become a greater priority, or you might feel a greater sense of urgency. And so I think the sooner you can start thinking about these things and really imagining that future vision, the better.
Yeah, definitely.
right? Yeah.
So there's a few more of you that have joined in. If you're here, just say hi. It's always nice to see who's joining in live with us, and we really appreciate tuning in at your lunch times. So I think the second question for us is the how. Yeah. The how starts with really reflecting on the change that you're going through or that you're wanting to make, and identifying the opportunities that you can grow into. So we need to understand, obviously, the why, but the how is like, how are we going to get there, right? And some of the questions that we're going to talk about, or that we would ask ourselves, or that perhaps if you're going through that, is to include it. Hi, Serena. Oh, you're from Sydney. Awesome.
Nice.
Some of the questions you can ask yourself when you're going through a process of reinvention is, why do I want to reinvent my life, right? What does my ideal life or career look like? And what would I do if I knew I could not fail? And, from there, look at how do I set smaller goals and realistic goals in order to achieve the aspirations or that sort of future vision of you that you want. And, who can help you to get there. So right now, we're in our 4th week of our online course, yes. Confidently Create Your Bold Career Move. And these are some of the questions that we've been taking our students through, because if you're making that career shift, right, in a sense, it's a reinvention of, you're I guess, peeling off the old you and creating the new you. And in order to do that, even in a career side, you need to look at who's your tribe, what are the people, right? So these are things that can be taken into consideration if you're reinventing different parts of your life. It's not just specific to like career, or it's not just specific to health, or not specific to any any part of your life. Yeah. Right?
Something more holistic, I guess, right?
Exactly. So in order to do this, it's really essential to put your thoughts down on paper. Yeah. So we're really big believers of, writing things down with a pen and paper. And you would have seen that we announced our change planner, which, if you want, the bit.ly is just there. It's just bit.ly/change planner, small letters, because we unfortunately shared the wrong one last week.
Yeah.
And we did have some of you telling us that, so sorry about that. But yeah, putting things down on paper really helps to get your ideas out and allows you to have a lot more clarity. So going from idea to action really takes a lot of intention, and by writing it out and goal setting allows you to really feel and see it in front of you, and then it in a sense allows you to drive your vision further. So, goal setting, planning, and actioning is essential, otherwise you're just streaming, and that reinvention will take so much longer if you can't really reverse engineer the steps that you need. So once you sort of draw up a rough plan or timeline, a chart to your next key steps, in line with your bigger milestones that you want to reach, think about what are the people in your network, right? Who can help you achieve your vision? Is it a mentor? Is it a peer support system? Is it a community? Is it a co-working space? Is it your old boss, or whatever it is, right? So whether that's, hiring a life coach or a business coach, that's something that I feel sometimes, or we both feel, that people underestimate the way of working with different people in your network, right? It's not just one type of person, it's multiple types. So create the tribe of supporters, right? Really build that support system for you so that you can succeed. And also find your cheerleaders or your advocates, right? Those people are the ones that are going to keep you motivated and driven to move forward. Obviously, build those that are going to, in your network, that are also going to challenge you, so that you don't have confirmation bias. Yeah. But definitely you need your advocates and supporters. So once you do that, or as you go through that, you're really going to be able to step up and succeed in getting to that next point.
Exactly. And I guess, just to elaborate, I know we shared about our change planner a few weeks ago, but I think this is really at the heart of why we created the change planner. Hi, Paul. Even though the change planner is, quite focused on habits specifically and creating those personal rituals, at the end of the day, it really is taking that holistic view on your life and going, how do I grow? How do I push myself? How do I improve? And then going from that bigger vision down to smaller steps. Yeah. So moving along, I guess, before I move into the third question, I also just want to say, sometimes you might feel stuck even just thinking about how to reinvent yourself. And while I totally agree, like it's not necessarily just one part of yourself. Ideally, you're looking sort of holistically. And if that doesn't work for you, because sometimes I think that sort of holistic thinking can be a bit overwhelming for some people. And actually, I think when you start working on something small, it kind of eventually evolves into other realms of your life anyway. But if, for example, you're looking at your career and where you could go, I think another thing that people don't do often enough sometimes is really think about like role models or heroes, and they can be famous figures, you know, movers and shakers, or they could just be somebody you know personally within your network, and sort of following their journey and seeing, okay, where did they start and where are they today, or how have they chosen to move along in order to progress themselves.
Thanks, Serena.
Oh yeah, thanks, Serena. So yeah, I think if you're stuck, you know, you can always look outside for inspiration and get ideas from other people who have gone through the journey or are going through it. And if they're accessible to you, then talk to them and access them and get some ideas and inspiration.
Yeah, and I think just to add to that, I mean, that's something that we do in our Reinvention retreat,
Yes,
which we'll share a little bit more at the end. But, you know, a worksheet we have is about your heroes and finding it. But if you don't know where to start, is even start looking on LinkedIn. You know, if it's in regards to your career, and if it's you know, whether it's someone famous or whatever, you can find all of that information online, right? And really understand what are the steps they took to get there. And it's just as simple as writing your top 3 heroes, the, you know, top 3 education experiences that they had, and maybe like, you know, the keywords that are in their profile or in their bio or whatever it is, right?
Yeah, and I mean, just to give an example, right, a personal example, like one of my heroes lately especially is like Brene Brown, and I just soak up everything that she's doing. And if, you know, sometimes if I look at, okay, where could I go, where could I become, you know, it's also then looking and going, what did she do, right? What was her message? How did she grow? Did she write a book? Or what was that process like? Is she public speaking? So you can get a lot of ideas by just following the sort of path or trajectory of people that you admire. So that's a little unstuck tip. But let's move on to question 3, which is sort of what are the barriers that sometimes come up when you're on a reinvention journey? And I think, you know, they can be different for everybody, but I guess the biggest and greatest barrier that I think summarizes a lot is fear. You know, fear of not being good enough, fear of not being experienced enough, fear of, you know, I can't do it, and just it's all about your mindset, right? And I think setting yourself up for success is about giving yourself or working on a positive mindset that focuses on, yes, I can, which is why we have this tagline today. And so I think, you know, rather than sort of getting fixated on what you don't have or what you don't know, is start with what you do know. And, you know, the bigger questions or the more important questions I think to ask in this phase is like, what would life be like for me if I just cruised along? And if I decided not to push my boundaries and decided not to grow? And allow, you know, if it's going to be fear that drives you, then let it be a fear of not doing, as opposed to what happens if you make a mistake or slip up, because that's the, I mean, in those mistakes is the value of learning, right? So yeah, really looking at what is the worst that could happen if I let my fears overtake or, you know, stop me from taking action. And I think fears are actually a really good compass sometimes, or starting point for what you actually need to do.
Hi, Mar.
Hi. So, you know, if it's a fear of public speaking, then do you join a Toastmasters to kind of step up your game? If it's a fear of writing, then is it maybe you know, doing a challenge for yourself and just writing for 10 days and then not sharing it, or, you know, practicing that habit of writing until you are comfortable enough to maybe contribute an article or write a blog, or even just a little post on your social media that just starts you getting into the habit of doing exactly what you're scared of. So I think, you know, instead of sort of faffing about and guessing, right, is just take action. Just start somewhere and see what happens, because that can guide you a lot. So I think, you know, in summary, to overcome the potential barriers of reinvention, I think it's about, like Grace said earlier, right, letting go of old notions or ideas about how it should be, letting go of any self-limiting beliefs that are stopping you from just taking that first step, and being aware of the things that are undermining your confidence and your creativity and your courage to be all that you can be.
Exactly, yeah. And I think, on that side, the network that you have should really, or the network that you're looking for should be helping you to overcome some of these barriers and some of these fears, right? So, and I think also sometimes it's like trying to understand that you will move through it one way or another.
Yeah.
You won't have even if you have the tools right now to move through the fears and all of that, it might still take you a little bit of time to actually move through it. So don't be so hard on yourself if you're not moving through it fast enough, or you're sort of feeling like you're not getting there, you're not, getting unstuck fast enough, because it has a domino effect, kind of like what Saul was saying earlier, right? So I think we are our own worst enemies most of the time. And also expectations, like we've talked about expectations in the past, where it's like, expectations of society, expectations of your family, expectations of your spouse, et cetera, all these sort of things also inhibit us. So just trying to, hi Days, just trying to make sure that, we're mindful of the things that we put as barriers to ourselves, but also the other sort of environmental factors that can create barriers for us, right?
Yeah.
We have a worksheet like always, right? But I think we're going to share a little bit more on our retreat first.
Yeah, let's.
And then we'll give you the, you've got the link for the worksheet there. But yeah, so our Reinvention retreat.
So we didn't run it this year because this year we've been moving everything online, so that's been keeping us busy. But our Reinvention retreat is an annual retreat, so we try to run it once a year. And we've rebranded it, so in the past, if you've been following us, you may have heard us talking about Change Ventures, and that's what we've renamed to Reinvention, because that's really what it's all about. And we're really taking you through this process of deconstructing yourself, in a sense, in terms of who you are and what your past experiences have been and how that sort of shaped your values, and then reconstructing all of that into understanding the frameworks or the structures or the habits that you need and the tools that you can use and resources that are available to you to help you get to that point B. And then in our final sort of segment, it's all about moving forward. So creating those action plans and roadmaps. Thanks, Daryl. But yeah, so the final piece is the moving forward, right? And really looking at how you take action and what steps you need to take and how you sort of get there. And the beauty of the retreat is that, you're sort of in a safe environment with people who are going the journey with you, with people who are facing some of the challenges and barriers that you might be going through, and having them for not only ideas and feedback and inspiration, but also accountability. And having that support system. And then, like Grace was saying, I think you were going to talk about how we bring in people, right?
Yeah,
as well.
So I mean, obviously, I think the transformation that you see in a physical retreat space, or that we see as well in a physical retreat space, is significant.
Yeah.
Not only because, like, the people that are there, but because we do bring in also, or we create the right environment for change to occur, especially on a personal transformation level. And we bring in different mentors and speakers around various different topics. So that changes each year, because we do tend to use like design thinking methodology when we're creating the program, and really looking at where are participants from, what are their experiences, what are their backgrounds, and where are they wanting to go. So it is an application based, and we interview people for that specific retreat that we have. But yeah, I think one of the things is there's a huge movement right now to talk about reinvention and to talk about values alignment and to talk about, trying to find yourself. And what we've noticed, we've run it for a long time now, since 2013. And something we've seen is that, it really does take commitment, and it does take, change isn't going to happen if you don't take any action. We can provide you with all the tools, we can provide you with the space, we can provide you with access to the networks, we can provide you with everything.
Yeah. But
if you aren't committed enough for that change, and really, really ready to, I guess, do the hard yards, it's not for everyone.
Yeah.
So for us, I guess with our Reinvention retreat, we have a rolling application form. So if you guys are interested, feel free to let us know or email us at hello@thechangeschool if you can't find the application. But it's on our website if you check our retreat section. And who it's for. Okay, so what we always get, we get this question all the time. Who is it for? Well, you know what? It's actually for those of you who are in this transition point. If you're burnt out, maybe you've been let off from your job. Maybe you've taken a sabbatical and you're realizing that the sabbatical has been great for like time out, but you want to have something that's a little bit more educational and informative, but at the same time allows you to create your next action steps. So it's for anyone in that career segment of their life that's looking to make their next steps, that may have been burnt out from their past career, and are trying to figure out what's next, right? That's really the stage of most of the people in our group. The average age is probably like 35.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, 35.
But we get a good mix as well, which is really nice. So I think the youngest participant we had was 24.
Yeah.
And then the oldest we had, I think, was 50.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's nice to get a good mix as well, and it's good. It's reassuring in a way because that's sort of our point, is that it's not a once and done. You don't just reinvent yourself and then that's okay. I'm all set with that. It's something that may pop up in your life at multiple times, and I think it's just acknowledging that and being committed to doing what you need to do to equip yourself for it.
Yeah. So if you're interested in more, we'll probably share, we will actually share a lot more of it closer to the date. But we get, funny as always it is, right? If we don't run it, we get a lot of inquiries asking us when the next one is. So that's why we're addressing it today as well. Because I think I've just personally answered a few emails from hello@thechangeschool that was asking about when's our next retreat. So just trying to lay it out there, but of course it's a matter of timing and various other things. So feel free to drop us a line, but reinvention can happen with or without us. So what we're trying to do, obviously, with our Change School TVs is just equip you guys with, or all of you, whoever's watching, whoever's interested, equip you with the right resources and knowledge or tools to be able to do it yourself in the comfort of your own home. And where you can go deeper, that's where we sort of come in with our programs and our retreats. So few things, right? The worksheet?
Yeah. So just one thing I want to add is a few weeks ago we did a 6 Stages of Change episode, and if you haven't seen that, have a look. But just to give you an idea, I guess, of how we sort of look at the different things that we've got out there for you. So the Reinvention Retreat, I think, is really if you're ready to take action, like Grace said. However, if you're sort of in that contemplation phase, which Grace talked about earlier as well, right, and you're still just trying to figure things out, then the worksheet we've got today is really like a great start because it just allows you to sort of map out different things, look at different parts of your life, and just think about really small things that you could improve or adjust or start to think about in terms of what your future might look like. And then in between that, so sort of in between the contemplation and in between taking that major action, we also have our online course, which I think we've shouted out about a couple of times.
Yeah.
We're in the midst of it right now, but we do have a sort of wait list,
Yes.
right? We have a wait list on right now. I haven't put the link, but we will add it.
Yeah.
And so if you want to get on the wait list for our next intake, it'll probably be somewhere around the end of this year. And that one's really focused on career, obviously. So we do, again, because the Change School as a whole, I guess our philosophy is holistic. We never tend to really look at things as one directional. But if you are sort of coming in and looking to reinvent your career or make a bold shift, then head on over to the link that we'll share. It's just bit.ly/bold career, and you can find a little more information and then sign up to the list, and we'll send you more information over the coming weeks and months as well.
And it'd be really great to hear, I know we sort of said this last time as well, but just drop us a line if there's certain things that you really want to hear from us. Just let us know, and we'll try our best to incorporate that into our different series or into the different episodes that we've got coming up. This is sort of a work in progress continuously. So we have our ideas and we have all the things that we want to try and talk about as well. but we're also open to your suggestions. And if there's something that you're really, really struggling with, so career change is one that we find where people struggle with all the time. But, what else, right? Which part of, I guess, the life cycle stage do you struggle with? And if you could share that with us, that would be amazing. So for a lot of people, sometimes it is like if you're a mom and you're going back into the workplace. That's another area that we see. But, there's a burnout. Burnout is a huge area that we see, and that's something that, we haven't currently got one specific program for. Yeah. But like Salonia said, we don't see things in one dimension. We tend to see things more in a holistic view. So, how do we maybe look at self-care a little bit more?
Yeah.
But that's something that we're working on as well. So, but for today, it's all about reinventing yourself and the notion that, yes, you can and that everyone can. So reinvention is possible in whatever shape or size or form it comes in for you. And, we're here to support you on that. And through that, we've created a worksheet, which you can see is bit.ly Change School TV 07 download. And, the worksheet really just provides you a few reflective questions so that you can get started, basically. And, just take some time out this weekend and try and see if you can address some of the reflective questions that we have. And feel free to share it with us, or we have a closed Facebook group,
yes.
which we post about every now and then, but just hop on and maybe, subscribe to our newsletter if there's certain things that you want to know more of, because I know that each time we are sharing, like, multiple links. So I think, we are here in whatever way you need us. And a couple of things just to wrap up, I guess, change planner, worksheet, right?
Yeah.
And the waitlist for our online career course we will share with you as well.
Yep. Or the Reinvention retreat.
Exactly. And, just for anything, head on over to our website. It's super easy. It's thechangeschool.com. You can see things on our blog, a few different things there. So just get yourself familiar for those of you that are new, because I do see a few new faces or
which is
people
awesome.
here, which is great. But yeah. We'll be back next Tuesday with, I don't know what
I can't remember either. I forgot to.
But we'll double check.
We'll double check. We'll just tune in, actually. Come on in next week, same time, same channel, and you'll find out.
Yes. If you want to make sure you don't miss out, subscribe to our newsletter. You'll see the function button on our Facebook page, and you'll get a reminder every Tuesday morning to say that we're coming live. So hopefully we'll see you there. Unless there's any questions that some of you who are watching us or engaging with us have, we'll wait maybe a couple of seconds or a minute and see, and then we can wrap it up otherwise.
And if not, you can always pop your comments or anything else into the comments box, and we're pretty good at getting back to you guys.
We're pretty active in there, so... But, okay, well, thanks, guys. It was so good to have you all there. Thanks, Serena, for your comments, and Daryl.
And everyone for the thumbs
else.
up.
Exactly.
We love it.
We'll see you guys next week.
Bye.
Bye.